Okay, this B2B SaaS company called Alokai, or previously View Storefront, got these results from using our system. Their annual recurring revenue went up by 500%. Their deal size or their average contract value went up by 300%. Net retention is over 100%, which means people are renewing and upgrading. And we raised $20 million in a Series A round. And we did all of this in 18 months. And here's the proof, just so you know I'm not blowing smoke here. This is the TechCrunch article. It's in the press. View Storefront snaps up 20 million. I'll even leave a link to this if you want to see the article, just so you know I'm not lying. So how did we achieve these kinds of results for this B2B SaaS company? Well, we used one single principle that allowed us to persuade customers, employees, and investors to take this company completely to the next level. Believe it or not, it's never been easier. I'll shrink my face here so it's not super big. It's never been easier to close deals and build a billion-dollar business. You don't have to be Brad Pitt, okay? You don't have to have good looks, smooth talk, confidence, charisma. Regardless of what people say, it doesn't require any of these things. The only thing you need is to cut through the smoke, understand very, very basic human psychology. If you struggle to grow your company as fast as you'd like, it's probably not because you're stupid. With the amount of misinformation out there that is about scaling your business, telling you what to do, it's a win if you even still have a business. So sit back, relax. We're going to learn exactly how to use this persuasion technique at your company to allow you to close bigger deals faster and raise more money if that's what you're looking to do right now, even if you're a startup with limited resources, okay? So don't skip ahead just to find the technique. I've prepared this video like this on purpose. Be patient, watch it through. I promise it'll be worth it, okay? Let's go. Before I give you the technique, try this sometime, okay? Go to a magic shop in your city. Spend like 15, 20 minutes with the guy behind the counter. Have him show you a couple tricks. Pick the one that baffles you the most, that you think is the most impressive. Buy it, go home and learn it, and figure out how to perform it yourself. And if you do all this, I can basically guarantee you with 99.9% accuracy what is going to happen next. Okay, the next thing that's going to happen is you'll be disappointed, right? Because once you figure out how the trick works, you're going to go, oh, this is ridiculous. This wouldn't fool anyone. This is so simple. But it fooled you. So it's actually not ridiculous. The truth is, you'll realize most magic tricks are the result of correctly applying very, very basic principles. And it's the same with what I'm about to show you. It's the same with persuading your customers, employees, investors. This is it, right? This is the quote. It's a Blair Warren quote. People will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. Okay? This is important, so I'm going to read it again. People will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. If you don't believe me, try finding a successful company that doesn't use one or more of these 5 insights. And if you can find me a successful company that doesn't use any of these, I guarantee I could find you 15 that do for every one that you find. Okay? And when you give up on that, try finding a meaningful relationship that isn't built on one or more of these 5 principles that we just talked about. Try finding a relationship where 2 people have great chemistry, but they don't encourage each other's dreams. They blame each other all the time. They never address each other's concerns. They call each other paranoid when one of them is afraid, and they leave each other to fight their own battles. The bottom line is, whenever people form powerful bonds with one another, one or more of these 5 principles is usually in action, which is why I'm teaching you this, which is why this is so crucial to know. Before you say, oh, this is way too basic, there's no way, just those 5 things, that wouldn't work for my business. That's what most people think, which is why they're stuck in a vicious cycle of failure and frustration when it comes to building trust with their customers, employees, and investors. Everyone thinks it's too simple to work, which is why they struggle. So here's the plan. We're going to break down these 5 concepts into actionable insights so you can use them to close bigger deals faster at your company today. Okay? 5 sections: how to encourage their dreams, how to justify their failures, how to allay their fears, how to confirm their suspicions, and how to help them throw rocks at their enemies, okay? Encouraging their dreams. Okay, hypothetical situation here. Okay, you got a kid at school. Kid goes to school and says he wants to be an astronaut. He goes, hey, Mr. John. This guy's Mr. John, okay? Mr. John, I want to be an astronaut. And for his own good, right, Mr. John goes, no, that's impossible. You know how many people become astronauts? It's so unlikely. Do something more realistic. So he pushes them to a more realistic goal. And the student goes, okay, well, I guess I can't be an astronaut. That seems normal. And then the student goes back home to his parents and says, Mom, Dad, I want to be an astronaut. And his parents go, you know what? Of course you can be an astronaut. If you work hard enough and you do what it takes, you could absolutely be an astronaut one day. Who do you think has more power over that kid? The teacher or the parent? Right? Encouraging their dreams. That's what this is. If you're one of the few people who actually believes in them and encourages the dreams that they have, you're way more likely to persuade them. Every customer, employee, or investor has dreams. Everyone has dreams. Address those dreams in your message, regardless of what piece of content you're applying this to, whether it's during the sales process when you're closing a deal, during the hiring process when you're maybe trying to attract somebody to come work for you, or during the pitching process when you're trying to raise money. All of this matters. Hey, justifying their failures. One of my personal favorite phrases to say when persuading someone, whether it be virtually or in real life or live on a call, it's not your fault. I genuinely think this is one of the most powerful phrases that you could say to another human being when it comes to persuasion. Everyone wants a scapegoat, right? There's nothing more freeing than having a burden or like a responsibility taken off your shoulders. When it comes to gaining control over your life, and this is for us, obviously accepting responsibility and being, the man that controls his life is essential, and it's mandatory to achieve the results that you're trying to achieve. But when it comes to influencing other people, assuring them that they're not responsible for their mistakes is actually very, very powerful. And now you might be saying, oh, but Christian, this sounds dirty. This sounds like it could be used for unethical purposes. If I was a bad guy, I could probably use these concepts to manipulate people into doing bad things. And the truth is, you're right. You absolutely could. In fact, these exact concepts that I'm teaching you in this video have been used in cults, in all sorts of sinister things where people commit suicide, people commit murder, people go to war on these beliefs. Like, these are incredibly powerful, foundational, psychological concepts that you can use to influence people. And my thinking is, if they can use it in their cult, why can't you use it to grow your business? Why can't you use these powers for good? That's why I'm making this video. It's why I'm teaching this to you. These techniques are only unethical if you are unethical, okay? So I don't really need to say this, but use them responsibly. Okay, alleviating their fears. This one's a good one. When we're afraid, it's very hard to focus on anything else. Being scared puts you right in the moment, right? And then people come around and they go, oh, don't be scared. Don't be scared, dude. It's okay. Like this guy, look at this guy. He's about to go ziplining. And then this guy's like, oh, what's wrong? Don't be scared. It doesn't work. It doesn't work when you just tell someone how to feel. But there's some people that come around and they actually pay close attention to you. And they'll work with you until your fear goes away, right? They'll present evidence. They'll offer emotional support. They'll sit with you. They'll tell you stories. But they don't tell you how to feel, right? They sit with you and they work with you through that fear. Who would you prefer to be around? Which one of those two people would you say has more influence on you? Hey, be the lantern in a dark cave. That's the best way I could put it. Like, fear clouds judgment. When people are scared, they make bad decisions. And so you have to alleviate that fear when you're persuading someone. Customers are afraid of making a bad investment. Employees are afraid of working for the wrong company. Investors are afraid they're going to waste their money with you, right? Use support, evidence, and storytelling to alleviate fears for these groups to lubricate the persuasion process. That's what we're saying here. Okay, confirming their suspicions. One of our all-time favorite things to say is I knew it. Like, think of the last time someone confirmed something that you were suspicious about and you found out you were right. Like, think about how good that feels when you get, it's the most satisfying feeling ever when your suspicions are confirmed by someone else, right? We feel superior, smarter, but most notably, we feel very attracted to the person that gave us that feeling, right? People trust those who confirm their suspicions. So weave that into your message, whether you're talking to a customer, employee, or investor, whether it's during a hiring process, sales process, or fundraising process, doesn't matter. Confirm their suspicions. And this is where research comes in, is finding out what are their suspicions. Who am I talking to? What are they suspicious of? That's your job to do in the research phase before you create content going into the persuasion process or the pitching process or whatever it is that you're trying to do. Helping them throw rocks at their enemies. Okay, I know this sounds kind of evil, but it's extremely true. Nothing brings people together like having a common enemy, right? The enemy could be a person, an idea, a group of people, a philosophy. The enemy is a figurative enemy. It's not an actual. It's not always like a human enemy. But everyone has an enemy. Everyone has someone that they're fighting. And so it's your job to find out what that enemy is. Everyone with an enemy is looking for allies. So if you find out what your customer, employee, investor, you find out what their enemy is, and you address that in your message, you're significantly more likely to persuade them and influence them in your favor. Okay? So let's look at the quote again here. And you can read it again if you want. But think about, what don't you see here? What are we not saying that a lot of people may tell you to do? Well, you don't see anything about you. There's nothing in this sentence about your needs, your hopes, your concerns, your offer, your product, your tech. None of that. It's all about the person sitting on the other side of the table. Nobody cares about you except you. And I know that's like an exaggeration, and it is. And I'm not saying never talk about your tech or never talk about these things. But when it comes to persuasion, the focus should always be on the person sitting on the other side of the table. Imagine being in a pitch, right? And your proposal makes sense. Your arguments are solid. You're offering a great deal. Your pitch is basically perfect, but the entire time you're looking off to the side, right? Focusing on the wall. Like, imagine I was doing this video and I was just looking off to the side the whole time, right? How much of a connection do you think you're making with that person? Remember, everything about your pitch is perfect, but none of it matters all of a sudden because you're looking past the other person at a wall. And that's exactly what it's like to talk about you or yourself in a conversation. You're looking past everything that the other person cares about. That's not a way to make a connection or influence someone. And if you don't believe me, notice what else our sentence doesn't say. It doesn't say people will do anything for those who do what's best for them or offer the best product or give them the best deal. It doesn't say people will do anything for those who are charming and well-dressed or funny or come across as smart or reasonable. It doesn't say any of that. When we focus on the basics of human psychology, all these other things become negligible. They become minor difference makers. Right? When we focus on the basics of human psychology, we create relationships where people naturally want to do things for us. So this is it. This is the secret. And yeah, it is actually that simple. So let's look at some real life examples so you can see how this is actually applied in the business world. I'll give you a couple different examples here. So ClickFunnels. You probably know ClickFunnels, Russell Brunson, $265 million in revenue, right? And they did that with only $1 million in funding. This is an incredibly successful company. And look at what their landing page says. Read that headline. What does it say? Imagine an easy way to create your own high-converting marketing funnels without hiring an entire team of designers and coders. So look at that and think, which one of the 5 principles are they using here? Which ones are they using? Well, look, imagine an easy way to create your own high-converting marketing funnels. That's encouraging their dreams. If you're the kind of person that they're targeting in this message, then you want to convert leads online in an easy way that doesn't require you to have all these different kinds of teams and employees and all these headaches. You want an easy way to do it. You're encouraging their dreams here. And then you say, without hiring an entire team of designers and coders, what's that doing? That's doing two things. That's one, helping them throw rocks at their enemies, because the enemy is having an entire team. It's this idea of having to manage all these different people under you. What a headache, and it costs money too. That's the enemy here. And you're also confirming their suspicions, because if you're in this world and you're the kind of customer that they're going after for this product, you probably have suspicions about, you know what, there's no way it's that hard. There's no way I need a whole team just to set up a marketing funnel online. Surely there's an easy way to do it. So they're using 3 out of the 5 just in the headline. And I'm not going to go into the whole sales letter because maybe that's a separate video. But if you continue reading on that page, on their own page, they continue hitting those points, those 5 principles. Okay? Example 2. So we're going to look at the weight loss industry. I know this is not relevant to tech or B2B SaaS whatsoever, but the reason I bring it up is because weight loss products are like the most exaggerated, most extreme example for us to understand these techniques. Okay, this is a diet coach for women. Her name's Jennifer. Her landing page literally says, it's not your fault. And I know I talked about it's not your fault earlier, but she literally says it's not your fault. You usually don't see like the words, it's not your fault, that overtly or that obviously, especially in tech. But in weight loss, they're very obvious about it, right? Like you go into her letter on her page and she says things like, your metabolism hasn't caught up with how food is now produced. So she's telling you, it's not your fault that you're fat. It's not your fault that you're overweight. It's your metabolism, right? She's putting the blame on something else. She's taking the responsibility and the burden off your shoulders and saying, it's the way food is produced now. It's not you. And you realize how powerful that is when you take the burden off of someone's back. Okay? And then she keeps going. Look at this. The dieting methods out there are failing you. You are not a failure, right? So now it's the dieting methods. What is she doing here? 2 things. Help them throw rocks at their enemies, for sure. The dieting methods are now the enemy. That's the thing that we all hate. Oh, those dieting methods, they never work. I never lose weight because of that. That's the enemy. And you're justifying their failures by telling them, you're not a failure. Not a failure. You're telling them it's okay. And whether this is true or not, I don't know. I'm not a diet expert. But whether this is true or not, this is very persuasive. Third example, this video. Right? Notice how I've held your attention all the way up until this point in the video. How do you think I did that? If you go back and rewatch this video carefully and really look at what I'm saying and analyze each slide of this video, you'll find these exact techniques sprinkled all throughout the video. Okay, do you remember what I said in the beginning? Remember this slide? Never been easier to build $1 billion company. This is true, right? It doesn't require good looks, doesn't require smooth talk, confidence, charisma. What am I doing here? I'm playing to your dreams. I'm encouraging your dreams, right? That is the entrepreneur's dream, is to have a very successful company. And everything I'm saying is completely true. Here, alleviating their fears. What did I say? I said, the only thing you need is to cut through the smoke and understand very basic human psychology. Super true. But what's that doing? It's alleviating your fear that this is going to be a difficult thing to understand. Right? I promise you that you could use these concepts on your way to building $1 billion company. But I'm alleviating your fears of this being complicated. What else? If you struggle to grow your company fast, it's probably not because you're stupid. What am I doing? Justifying your failures, right? Even though it's not really a failure to have not growing your company super fast. But you get the point. This is taking the burden off your back. It's not your fault. And it isn't, actually. Everything I'm saying is true. The amount of misinformation out there, scaling your business, it's a win if you even still have a business. All these things, I'm using these 5 principles. And notice how, 2 lessons to take away here. The first one is seamless integration, which means these techniques that I use, they were integrated into this video in a smooth way that doesn't make them stand out or be too obvious that I'm doing it. which makes them way more powerful. So if you're able to integrate these concepts seamlessly into your message when persuading someone, that's how you really get the highest bang for your buck when you're using this concept. Okay. The second thing is authenticity. I didn't have to make up any of these statements to fit into the narrative of this video. Everything I said to you was completely true. All I did was phrase them in a very specific way to achieve an outcome, right? So here's something you could do today, that will help you persuade your customers, employees, investors with a higher success rate. When you finish this video, choose your most important piece of content. So this could be your pitch, your outbound sequence, your landing page, whichever one is the most crucial to your success as a company. Pick that, or at least start with that, and spend 20 minutes reviewing it, looking for areas to start injecting these 5 principles. And if you want to find the 5 principles, just rewind this video and you can find them. Okay? And if you really want results, start with a completely blank page and rewrite your pitch. Your pitch, your landing page, your email sequence, whatever. Rewrite it completely. A pitch is a good one to start with because your pitch is you're pitching your customers. You're pitching your employees in a hiring process if you're trying to attract good talent who have options, and you're pitching your investors. The pitch is kind of the one that applies to all 3 of these groups. Rewrite your pitch using these 5 concepts and run that and see what kind of results you get from it. Okay? So if you need more help with persuading your customers, employees, investors at your company, we have more training material completely for free on growfast.io. I'll give you a link down there so you can find it if you need more help. But you'll basically find free guides, videos, lessons, stuff like this. This is an article I wrote called Tech Founders Going Bankrupt for Making This One Big Mistake. Solid article. Highly recommend. I can link that one too for you. But yeah, as always, I will see you in the next one. I look forward to hearing your feedback, and comment down below on where in this video you see me using these concepts. Okay, take care.